This is another interview that I'm doing. Michael's son Brennan's kindly said that he'd be interviewed. However, he doesn't want to be seen, so you'll hear his voice but not see his face. So, very quickly, Brennan, I just wanted to get your thoughts on assessments, particularly assessments or assignments that have to be taken home. You're in what year now?
9.
9. Okay, so you have taken home, I guess, over your school life, quite a few things that had to be completed at
Yeah.
home. Is it usually, is it very often important work that you're getting marked for?
Usually it is, but sometimes we get the odd spot of homework.
Odd spot of homework. So you're not doing too much homework now?
No.
No, that's good. I thought it got worse in year 9, but anyway. So we're not really talking about homework at the moment. We're talking about assessments. We want to know what you think. Do you think assessments that are done at home are fair?
Um, it depends on what support the child can get, really. I mean, some of it is. If it's something that needs to be researched and you don't have enough time in school to do it, then to be able to go home and do that is great. But if you don't have access to the internet per se, then you can't do that and you don't have that same opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
But there's often things that you can do during lunchtime at the library perhaps
Mm-hmm.
to make up for that.
You've got a lot of friends. Do any of your friends have troubles at home concentrating and doing work at home? Like, do they have lots of little brothers or sisters or something like that? They get in the road a bit, or?
Um, Not really. I mean, they have siblings, but they don't seem to let it get in the road of their assignments.
Okay. And do you find that some of them say to you they get a bit more help from mum than what perhaps they should, or dad?
No, not really. It doesn't happen too often.
Doesn't happen too often. Now you're at a good school at the moment, Brennan, but you've got friends also that go to other schools that probably would be considered a bit more of a mix of students that are perhaps not on task as well as what the kids in your class are on, because I know that you hang out with some pretty cool kids that are pretty they're good, they're well behaved kids. You've told me that you hang out, what did you say they were, a bit like the Big Bang Theory or something like
Yeah,
that?
a little bit.
Yeah, so they're pretty good kids, they do what they're told.
Yeah.
But you've also got some good mates that go to public schools that do have issues of kids that perhaps don't have their family support at home, and you've heard them talk about that a little bit and how hard it is for them.
Um, they don't really talk about that much, but I have heard a few of them say that they can't get things done at home due to not having the right amount of support or
Yeah.
help.
So do you know what happens? Do they give up or do they even try?
Some of them just don't bother, really.
Okay. And is there one thing we touched on before was peer pressure? Is there a bit of a shame thing about producing something that's not made? Like, for example, your dad was saying that he had to supply quite a bit of money to help you design something recently for an assignment, a task. And do you imagine that if he didn't have any money to buy anything, that perhaps they would be a little bit worried about bringing in something that wasn't made of something that looked decent?
Yeah, I guess students who don't have the same amount of resources could be a bit undershadowed by some of the projects and assignments that other kids can do because they have the parents with the money that can supply that for them. But other than that, I don't think it's really the look of what you're producing that satisfies the teachers themselves the most. It's the amount of quality and time and effort that's put into it.
That's very true. Just with that last assessment, did you watched all the inventions, didn't you? You
Yeah,
saw them all. Was there a really big difference between wow and what did they do there? Was there a big difference?
there was. Yeah, it was quite noticeable. We could tell the ones that were really scripted and designed properly, and the ones that were done in 5 minutes, filmed with an iPad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was probably, without mentioning names, the lowest one that you saw that was almost laughable because it wasn't?
Um, it was probably, I don't remember exactly what it was about, but it was basically just a bunch of people running around on the beach with, they were talking but you couldn't hear them over wind and they were drowned out and they weren't talking very loud and it was just basically a movie of a bunch of people running on a beach with some mumbled words in between it and a bit of writing on the screen.
What had they invented?
I don't
You
remember,
don't even know.
honestly.
So
No.
were they sort of laughed at a bit? Did everyone laugh at that and had it a bit funny?
They laughed with them more than at them, really.
Okay, so that's good. And what was the highest quality, the highest standard that you saw in the inventions?
The highest quality video I saw presentation wasn't actually an invention. It was more just information about. I think it was different measurements and all that. It was a video about like how small things can get and how large they can get, and it was just done really well. The quality was really good, and the way it filmed was very interesting itself because it was done progressively, like
Mm-hmm.
slowly moving through different areas, and you could see the scale and the sizes of things that he was talking about as he walked past them and all that.
Okay.
Like he went from walking around in a classroom picking up pencils to out in the car park to where there's cars, and then out in the street where there's trees. And
So he did it all by himself, or was it a group
uh,
effort?
I think it was him and a cameraman. I don't know.
Right,
other than
okay.
that.
So he had access to a good camera.
Yes, very
And do you
good.
think he got guidance with that one, or he thought of it all himself?
I think he probably wrote it, the script himself, and got the information himself. But
Yeah.
other than that,
Yeah, and did he win?
we don't know yet.
You don't know yet, okay. Was the prize money a very big incentive?
Yes, it was.
Do you think that students should have prize money offered to them for assignments that they do?
Well, that's a tough question because really they're not working for the grade, they're working for the prize, but in the workforce they're working for the money.
Hmm.
So
And they would
take
do
that
their
how you
best.
will.
They would actually do their best then, wouldn't they?
Yeah,
If they
well,
think there's a monetary reward.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay then, Brennan. Have you got any ideas that you'd like to offer to teachers, or to me particularly, because you know that I'm a third year teacher, about work that you take home?
Really, when it comes to homework, put it down to the student themselves. If they don't get the work done that they should in class, then that's the work that they have to get completed. It's their own fault if they don't, and they should bear the consequences. But other than that, I see like daily homework is rather
Rather pointless.
pointless,
You
really.
were telling me earlier that you had some homework in primary school. You had to just write out 100 timetable things, and
Yeah,
basically you just sat there with your calculator and did it, and you said it was pretty brain dead.
yeah,
You weren't
I took
learning
nothing
anything
from
from
it
it. You weren't learning
at
anything.
all.
So that was just a waste of time.
It was
Yeah.
a waste of time and effort.
Very important assessments. Do you think they should be done at home?
The very important ones, depending on what they are, obviously, could be a bit of a sketchy issue because you've got to worry about the parents again, but and the amount of support at home.
Mm.
But if there's spare time where they can get work done on them, then more power to them, really.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you very much, Brendan, for your time.
My pleasure.
Thank you.